Hey there, everyone. Got another tournament this week. We got the Mountain Tournament, which is a combination of three different courses. So there will be three holes from each of those courses. So this will be expert division, kind of guide and qualifying round. So the ball that's coming out for this tournament, or really the ball that's coming out for the second season of Clans, is called the Season 2 ball. And it's got the same stats as a Mummy ball and the Bunny ball, which are both two of the best balls in the game, especially for expert and master players, just because of you still get the 7% extra on the power, but you also get the 45% wind reduction, which is a little bit more than a Kingmaker. So it just allows you to be that much more likely to save a shot on a long par 4 or par 5 or something like that. So definitely good balls. If you didn't get any Mummy balls and feel like you missed out, then this is definitely your opportunity to get some balls that are the exact same. So I'm gonna do. I could use Thor's hammer for a lot of these holes, but I'm gonna kind of do a worst case scenario, just for people that don't have Thor's hammer yet. So I'm gonna do one bag with extra mile, and the other bag with quarterback. But other than that, pretty much the exact same setup. So hole number 1, I believe, I don't know what direction the wind is, but hole number 1 is a pretty short par 4, but it's got a pretty tricky green, so it's still not going to be super easy to make an eagle or anything like that. Depending on the wind direction, if this is downwind, you'll definitely be able to reach the green in expert with an Apocalypse and Berserker ball. If it's not downwind, let's see what we got. It's a little bit downwind, so I'm gonna guess that that you probably can reach the green with an Apocalypse and a Berserker. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of guys later in the week that show you how to execute those shots. I'm going to be showing you how to execute the easy birdie, so to say. So really my goal is going to be to get into thorn range and give myself a decent chance at making an eagle. So full top spin and right spin, and you'll see that I'm going to sort of aim short of this bunker so that there's no way that I hit it. I'm only going to go 3 top spin actually, but I'm going to aim short of this bunker, but you can see the bounce is still going to get over the bunker, so it's a safe shot. There's really not much chance that you'll end up in the bunker. So a lot of curl there. And as you can see, we put ourselves in the fairway. So not much to that shot. It's really all about avoiding the bunker and avoiding the rough and giving yourself a chance to make the eagle. So you'll see that we'll have a side wind for this shot, and typically on a side wind like this, I'm going to play about 20% extra wind. So gonna aim where I think it's gonna roll down towards the hole. And I'm gonna place I would typically place about 5 rings. So I'm gonna play this about 6 rings, 20% extra. Just because the straight side wind is gonna significantly push my ball to the left, so I want him to do a little bit of an over adjustment for that. And looks like I didn't quite use enough topspin. So I'm gonna go ahead and forfeit there. I don't think I'm gonna play expert with this account. I might. I'm just not sure yet. Hole 2. So hole 2. I'm not sure what the wind is, but either way, I'm going to show you the easy eagle play here. So I think on this course for expert, it's going to be pretty important to make sure you get your par score. So I think 2 of these par 5s are going to be very easy eagles. If you have a super high level apocalypse, probably level 6 like this guy, and snow globes or ghost balls or turbo balls, you may be able to reach the green. Not sure what he's doing here. But most people probably aren't going to be able to reach the green in expert. There's just not enough wind. So, like I said, I'm going to show you the safe layup shot. I don't understand that at all. I guess he has counterspin. Yeah, okay. So, good shot there. Didn't make much sense to me, but it's definitely one way to play it. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to try to get down here as far as I can. So, that actually looks pretty good right there. And with a downwind, it's going to roll out even farther than that. So, I'm going to go about 10 rings here, 10% extra. And just see how this rolls out with no topspin or side spin. And as I go throughout the week, I'll make an adjustment off of that based on what I see there. So, looks like we probably could go a little bit of topspin there. But with this downwind, I still don't think we'll have any problem reaching the green in 2. So, hole 2, definitely won an eagle on this hole. And hole 9, definitely won an eagle on that hole as far as par 5s go. So, I think minus 11 is going to be sort of your par score for this tournament for expert. But there is going to be quite a few opportunities to shave strokes off of that. None of these par 3s are terribly difficult. The par 4s, at least 2 of them are going to be, you're going to have a chance to make an eagle on. So minus 11 is a good solid score, but I think it's probably going to take at least a minus 26 to get gold in the weekend. So, let's see how 4 backspin looks. Let's try 3. So 3 backspin, full left spin, and we want it to land about right there. So about 9 rings that way, that looks about right. And we use a little bit of curl. So, right up there to the green. And should be a pretty easy eagle from there. So, we'll go ahead and move on to hole number 3, which is going to be our first par 3, the Vineyard Acres par 3. Sniper should still be a good club, so stick with that and see what sort of wind we got. This is definitely the type of hole that you should really be able to dial in and be getting very close to making a hole-in-one by the weekend round, hopefully. Not a bad effort there. So this hole is kind of downhill and then back uphill. So I'm going to play this pretty much normal, if you will. And we're at Men Club. So I'm going to go about 1.2 per ring. And let's try that. So aim just a little bit left of the hole to account for the wind. And then probably 7.5 rings or so. Go 1.2 per ring. And see if that's any good or not. Not too bad. Yeah. So since it is a side wind, maybe need to play that 20% extra wind that I was talking about on hole number 1. So instead of 7.5 wind, it'd probably be about, or 7.5 rings, probably about 9 rings. So really pretty close to 1-to-1 on a sniper there. So you could almost play 1 ring per mile per hour, it looks like. So definitely a hole to try to dial in as you get closer to the weekend round. So hole number 4, I'm not sure what the wind is on this hole, but either way I'm going to plan to lay up. I could see the possibility of going for the green on this hole though, if it is a certain wind direction. But sort of like hole number 2, no, never mind. Can't do it. Sort of like hole number 2, you're going to have like a super high level apocalypse to make that happen. So I'm going to go 4 top spin, full right spin with my quarterback, and try to get the ball to land about right, or to end up about right there. And I'll play about 10 rings. Ah. So with quarterback, that should end up just fine. Should end up in the fairway. And it's going to leave us with a pretty easy shot to make a birdie. But sort of the exact same thing as last hole. Basically with where we landed right there, this basically turns into a par 3. Just like last hole, and we'll have a pretty decent shot to make this shot. Just gonna require some fine tuning throughout the week. I wouldn't really recommend going over to the left to this left fairway like this. It just doesn't really buy you much of anything, in my opinion. I'm sure you're gonna be hitting a long iron instead of a wood, but I actually prefer the sniper just because of the better ball guide. Ooh. but he did end up in the fairway, so we will get to look at both different views on how to play this hole. So it looks like about mid club there, so about 7 rings again. So I'm going to go 4 back spin and 1 left spin there. And like I said, probably 7.5 rings maybe. And see if we can't get this one close. Yeah. So that pretty much takes any chances away of making it. But oh. So that probably was in. So you can sort of see there why I like the sniper shot. You get to see the full ball guide. It gives you a really good angle. So definitely an opportunity there. But it looks like I think I played about 1.1 per ring there. So just to sort of get you in the ballpark. So since this is a replay, I'm assuming he's going to make that, so we'll go ahead and head on over to number 5. So this is going to be the par 5. That's going to be difficult to eagle. So I'm going to go big dog, quarterback, and I'm actually going to use a kingmaker on this hole. Just to give myself that little bit of extra wind resistance to try to be able to make the 3rd shot, which is going to be the it's probably going to be about a max distance thorn shot if I execute the first 2 shots correctly. So going quarterback on the first hole here, or the first shot. So about 4 and 4. And probably go about that 20% extra for side wind, so go about 10 rings. And the goal is to get as far down here as we can get, without landing in the rough, of course. So that's not too bad. I think anything over 325 is typically what I have tried to get to in the past. With the Berserker ball, you might be able to reach that second fairway. But once again, kind of like hole 2 and 4. Well, no, just 2. You didn't have the right wind for 4. But like hole 2, you're really going to have Apocalypse 6 or 7 probably to make that worthwhile. So very few people are going to be able to execute those 2 shots. So I wouldn't really worry about it. It's probably not going to affect your tournament standing much at all, so kind of just got to worry about what you can control. So, good drive there. And I'm going to try to end up in this big landing area right here. So, I need about 4.5 rings. And I'm going to curl against the wind just a little bit. So not too bad there. So we'll have a short iron pitch up there to try to make an eagle. Unfortunately, I don't think we're far enough up here to use backspin, so gonna be a little bit of guesswork involved, I think. Nope, we can use backspin, actually. Perfect. So, gonna use only about a half bar of left spin, because the wind's gonna help us pull it back to the left. And I'm gonna aim about right here in the middle of this grid up here. You see where my second bounce is? And then 1.9 per ring. It's going to be a little bit over 4 rings. So we'll try something like that. And see how that looks. Oh! We didn't need any side spin at all. The wind was going to pull it over there for us. So pretty close on the first attempt, but definitely something I can see being able to pull off at some point in the weekend round. So kind of just fine tuning at this point. This is a replay, so I'm assuming he's not going to make it, but I'm interested to see if he's playing the backspin shot or just kind of rolling it up there. Alright, so unfortunate not to get the eagle there. Definitely would be a nice one to get, but like I said, that's kind of why I feel that -11 is the par score for this tournament. But as you can see, there's definitely plenty of opportunities to be had. We've seen a few of them already, so we'll go back to our sniper here and see if we can't use a navigator here. Kind of just going to depend on which wind direction they give us. That's kind of a mean wind direction. So I mean, this would be a pretty decent candidate to use one of those new season 2 balls. It would probably take that 10.4 wind down to 7.5 or 8. So definitely would make this shot a lot easier. So let's see if we can use a navigator or not. Yeah. Should be just fine. So I'm going to get about 3 rings away from the rough up there. And let's try 2 backspin. And then from there, I'm going to go about 1 per ring. So about 10 rings here. So there's 9. A little bit of guesstimating there. a little bit short there. So needed to go a few more rings, I think. That would get us a little bit longer and a little bit more left. So I think maybe add 10% extra to the wind and see how that works out. But doesn't look like 10 rings was quite enough there. But I do like the amount of backspin that we used. I think if we could just land a little bit farther, it'd catch that right slope and give us a little bit better chance at trickling down towards the hole. So this is the one hole that I'm going to try something a little different, maybe. I think Apocalypse 3 would be good enough. But I think if they give us the wind to go over on this hole, this is going to be one of, if not the most important holes on the course. So I definitely at least want to give this a shot and see how feasible this is. So directly downwind. So let's try 3 topspin and full left spin. And I think we want to land about right there, so I'm going to adjust 6 rings from there. And we want to go max curl without overpowering it. So not quite. So definitely an opportunity there. If you don't have an Apocalypse, quarterback may also work. Because as you can see, I pulled way down with my adjustment, so I wasn't even near max club on the Apocalypse there. So quarterback probably is even a better option there, just because it's a much more accurate club. But I think definitely something to look into in the qualifying and opening rounds. And as you can see, our opponent came over this way as well. So definitely something you want to fine tune. I guess one thing that I'll note is that I aimed quite a ways away from the edge of the rough, just because I know that the curl is going to kind of bring the ball back. So I'm playing this shot at about 40% wind, so about 3.3, 3.4. So I played just a little bit over 2 rings. Close. But yeah, the curl, since you use that much curl, the ball is going to land farther left than it looks on that drive. So make sure you aim a few rings, probably at least 5 rings away from the edge of the rough on that curl shot. But yeah. Definitely, you want to make the decision on whether or not you want to go that route before the weekend round. You definitely don't want to try that for the first time on the weekend round. So maybe give it a shot in the qualifying round, especially if you're going to play a practice round. And then try to dial it in before the weekend. If you don't think you can make it by the weekend round, I wouldn't worry about it too much. There is going to be some people that make the eagle on that hole, but like that guy got the eagle there. But he's probably the only one. So some people are going to get that eagle, but definitely not something that everyone's going to get, so definitely nothing you need to lose a ton of sleep over. So, hole 8, Glen Monarch par 3. So I'm going to go sniper here. And I typically add about 20% extra wind to this shot, just because it plays pretty significantly downhill. Ooh, that's a rough wind too. So probably about 12.5 miles per hour of wind is what I'll play. Not a bad shot there. So we do have room. And 20% extra wind is going to put us right at about 12, actually. So I'm going to get about 2 rings up here from the rough. And aim something like that. Yeah, that should be fine. And then, like I said, play 12 rings. So 6 and 12. So pretty close there. Not quite online just yet. So that actually ended up right pretty much where I aimed my ball guide. So maybe I'll just aim the ball guide through the hole and play 20% extra. And it seems like it'd be pretty close based off of that shot. So hole number 9. So I'll probably go with the Cataclysm here, about 2 per ring. And it just gives you, well, it's basically the same thing as the Big Dog at this point. So I'll go Big Dog since more people are going to have that. And let's see if we can't get an eagle on this hole. So, whoops. So we eagled hole number 2. So this would be for an 11 under. Which, like I said, I think 11 under is probably going to be the par score, if you will. So we definitely like to get this one. So I really don't want to use any topspin if I don't have to. So 7.8 in wind. It's probably going to land about 4 rings up there, so I think that should be just fine. I'm actually going to move this back just a little bit. Just because the shot is downhill, so it's going to tend to fly a little bit farther than it shows. And that's why I didn't want to use any topspin. just because of that right there. So that ended up being a pretty perfect drive right there. We should be able to get our eagle from there. So it looks like if you have an Apocalypse 5 and have some spare berserkers, you can make this hole really easy. Just blast it as far as you can, kind of take the water out of play. Yep, so that's really the one big concern on this hole, is missing the fairway on the drive like that. Because as you can see, this is not going to be too difficult with as far as we made it up here. So I'm not going to go any top spin. Just going to go full side spin. 2.1 per ring, so it's going to be 4 rings exactly pretty much. And then I'm going to curl it back to the left a little bit as well. Not trying to make this shot at all. Just trying to get it close, really. So I can't ask for any more than that. Really, you could honestly bring sniper to this hole. As long as you get your drive over the water and into the fairway. There's really not too much risk of coming up short as long as you make it that far, since you have the downwind second shot like this. So I think -11 is pretty doable every single time. But yeah, you're definitely going to want to shave some strokes here and there. So I think -11 is going to be a good score, but definitely -24 at least to get top 10 or top 5 on the weekend round. So definitely going to need to shave a few strokes here and there. So, hole 2. Yeah, so I think hole 4 gives you a really good opportunity. Hole 5 and hole 7, if you can figure out that drive. So I think you should be able to execute number 7 with a quarterback. So there really shouldn't be too much of a concern there, even if you have even if you don't have a high level Apocalypse. So definitely opportunities out there. I think I said earlier, I think 26 under probably is going to get you pretty close to winning on the weekend round. So that's how I would play these holes, though. That was a -11 right there, which isn't bad, but yeah, there's just a lot of opportunities on this course. So I think -11 is a pretty good score, and -12 is a great score. I'm just gonna have to find a way to get at least one shot to drop on each side, I think, to be competitive on the weekend round. So hope you guys find this helpful. That's my first look at these holes, and probably how I'm gonna play most of them if I play expert with this account. So good luck, and hope you guys shoot low scores.